It's said that hitting a girl like CF can't hold on to B. Is it not necessarily the arm that has bulging veins? Isn't it necessarily a knife that stabbed you in the back? As soon as the protagonist entered the world of bizarre tales, he was invited by a beautiful teacher to fight CF, and the protagonist happened to have a huge black Barret, just about to attack. Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brain storage area. I have entered a small black room. I promise to be honest and never drive again. The car is on its way here. Attention everyone, this man's name is Xiaoshui. At this moment, he is playing poker fiercely with his good brother Odibio's girlfriend Xiaomei in bed. Some people just watch and change their apps. Friends who often change apps, your traffic must not be enough. Li Ran, who was originally interested in watching, frowned and said angrily. What the hell, these unscrupulous clips, editing videos with heads but no tails. It's just a video of playing poker with just a few seconds on screen, how impressive. Scratch away. Scratch away. Attention everyone, this man's name is Odufa. He is the brother of the African chariot god Odibu. Today, his task is to transport a ton of bananas from Dig Earth to Dig Earth. It's already noon at this moment, but Li Ran is still lying under the bed in the dormitory, watching videos. How can he not properly spoil his bed during this rare school holiday? And just as Li Ran was focused on watching Odibio's brother Odibio pull a banana in the video, a cold mechanical sound rang out in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the player for being strangely selected. Upon hearing the sudden sound that appeared in his mind, Li Ran was immediately startled and stood up, his face dazed for a long time, unable to regain consciousness. And just as Li Ran was stunned, his eyes turned black and he felt a spinning sensation. After Li Ran felt his feet landing, he couldn't help but start vomiting. Nausea, lying in the trough, dizzy, nauseous. After vomiting all over the floor, Li Ran slowly recovered and saw that he was no longer in his dormitory. With an excited expression on his face, he said. What kind of thing? Young master, I was strangely chosen. What kind of ghost? Thinking that the system was actually congratulating him, Li Ran couldn't help but feel angry and shouted angrily, I congratulate the mud horse. I don't want to be selected. The system of the grass mud horse, you let me out. I don't want to die here. Ding. Player insulting system detected, now punishing the player. Li Ran was taken aback, what the hell? And just as he was stunned, a man in black suddenly appeared in front of him and slapped him in the face. Pop. And the strength of this slap was so great that it even slapped Li Ran directly onto the wall, and blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Li Ran was stunned by the sudden slap on the face, and at this moment, his face was in a burning pain. What? What a ghost, didn't I just curse? Did this give me a slap? Is this dungeon called opening joy with a slap? Li Ran covered his face, his eyes gradually turning red, and he couldn't help but squat down and cry. At this moment, I only feel blue skinny shiitake mushrooms. I'm only 20 years old and I didn't expect to die young. I haven't had a girlfriend yet, and I haven't even had a chance to talk. Woo-woo. But at this moment, the strange talk of rules in the live broadcast room has become a scene of arguments. What kind of thing? Is that the only thing I've chosen this time? Just being slapped at the beginning is enough, but I'm still crying now. His mother. What a waste. What can I do with my luck and backbone? Let me go. I really took it when I didn't grow up and went home to take care of my baby. The Dragon Kingdom is finished. This useless person is really causing shame to our Dragon Kingdom. Don't come out alive, otherwise I will have to be true to him. Ha ha ha, you're laughing your dad to death. The spirited guy thinks about real people every day. Yoxi, the challenger of the Dragon Kingdom has great potential this time. Oh, may God bless, the Dragon Kingdom is doomed again this time. Damn it. It's none of your business. At this moment, the Dragon Kingdom's Strange Talk Command Center. Chief, we have found the information about this challenger. Li Ran, who is 20 years old this year and graduated from Early Uzi High School, is currently studying at a third-tier university and is a freshman. I usually like to sleep in class and watch beautiful teachers, watch beautiful classmates after class, watch beautiful videos and internet celebrities during holidays. When I don't watch beautiful women, I just play games, have poor grades, don't like sports, and even enjoy masturbating. That's enough. At this moment, the middle-aged leader's face turned black as he watched Li Ran crying in pain on the live broadcast screen. This strange talk became a joke for various countries from the beginning. Chief, do you need to use a prompt opportunity? Look at this child's condition. Challengers from other countries are already searching for rules and familiar environments, and Li Ran has been crying for almost 10 minutes. The middle-aged man said slowly, the opportunity is precious and cannot be wasted on such things. There is currently no danger, let's take a look and see. At this moment, the atmosphere in the Dragon Kingdom Strange Talk Command Center is extremely solemn. Since the Sakura Kingdom began discharging nuclear wastewater 3 years ago, Eri has been reviving, and among the players selected by Eri, except for 25% who can safely return to Earth, the remaining 75% have all died. Moreover, according to the comprehensive inference of various strange research centers in various countries, this strange dungeon is becoming more and more difficult each time, with a lower survival rate each time, and the last survival rate was only 10%. The live broadcast room was noisy for 15 minutes, and the atmosphere in the Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center was also heavy for 15 minutes. And Li Ran cried for 15 fucking minutes. At this moment, an elderly person from the Dragon Kingdom Strange Tales Command Center slowly said after reading Li Ran's information, after all, Li Ran is still a young man, and he is not without merits. When using the first opportunity to remind him, promise him some benefits, and naturally, the child needs more encouragement. Promise Li Ran that for every second he survives, his family can earn 10,000 yuan without any upper limit. If he passes the challenge, then I can promise him 3 requests, and even accept him as an apprentice. The middle-aged man was taken aback and said to the old man, Dragon, the previous promise is not important, but these 3 requirements. What if Li Ran Lion speaks up loudly? And your existence should not be exposed. Even Li Ran's temperament is not suitable for being your disciple. The old man shook his head slowly and said, compared to the strange talk of coming to the Dragon Kingdom, those 3 requirements are nothing at all. Moreover, if Li Ran can really pass this challenge, he is qualified to be my disciple. After hearing Long Lao's words, the middle-aged man could only nod and continue to look at the useless Li Ran who was holding his head in tears. Leader, challengers from other countries have already found the rules, and Li Ran started vomiting when he entered the world of strange talk. He was slapped and cried after vomiting. Judging from his current performance, he may have given up waiting to die. At this moment, a young man suddenly became anxious and said, Not good. Chief, Rule 9 is to ensure that there are no bloodstains on the floor of your dormitory. Li Ran's chin is almost dripping with blood at this moment. The middle-aged man's face changed and he ordered. Hurry up. Send a reminder. And tell Long Lao Gang's promise to pass the level with peace of mind. No matter what the result is, as long as he tries his best. At least he can't just die like this. At this moment, the middle-aged man's face was extremely gloomy, and he didn't expect that his first opportunity would really be wasted like this. If this stinky kid is by his side, he really can't help but punch his head and explode. Look at what's inside his head. Chapter 2. Is it possible to reach it 1 second at a time? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. Challengers who are entering the Rule Strange Tale for the first time can randomly draw talents. Do you want to draw them? Ding. Challengers who are entering the Rule Strange Tale for the first time can randomly draw talents. Do you want to draw them? At this moment, Li Ran, who is crying with his head in his arms, is not in the mood to draw any broken talents. In the past, challengers used to draw talents that were mostly junk talents. And with my usual luck, even drawing a few honor crystals requires me to draw enough luck. Even during the college entrance examination, I only got 26 points right on the 150-point English exam. Ding. Dragon Kingdom reminder. Wipe off the bloodstains from the corners of your mouth immediately. And the bloodstains cannot fall to the ground. Dragon Kingdom promises that for every second you survive, your family can earn 10,000 yuan without a limit. If you pass the challenge, you can make any 3 demands, and there are also peerless warriors who accept you as their disciple. Please cheer up, you are not fighting alone. Li Ran saw this sudden reminder in his mind and immediately widened his eyes, wiping away the bloodstain from the corner of his mouth with excitement. Excitedly confirming the prompt message repeatedly, every second you survive, your family can earn 10,000 yuan. After confirming that you read it correctly, you immediately took out your phone and turned on your computer to start counting. 1 second is 10,000, and 1 minute has 60 seconds, and 1 hour has 60 minutes. 1 hour is 60 times 60 is equal to 3,600. And 1 day is 24 hours, which is 60x 24 equals 86400,864 million, which is equivalent to billions. At this moment, Li Ran suddenly reacted and looked up at the bloodstain left by the black NPC slapping him on the wall just now. In the corner of the wall, there was a drop of blood that was only 1 centimeter away from the ground. Li Ran only felt that his heartbeat had stopped at this moment. Directly, the small universe erupted and fell to the ground with a fierce pounce, holding the drop of blood that was only 1 centimeter above the ground in my hand. At this moment, Li Ran only felt that he had really walked through the gates of hell, and his little heart was about to explode. Ha! I almost landed in a box. It's been less than 20 minutes now, how can that little money be enough for my family to spend? Li Ran patted his chest and said. Ha! Calm down and work hard to live for a few more seconds. Mad, now I know what an inch of time is, an inch of gold is hard to buy an inch of time. Ha ha ha, but I can buy an inch of gold with an inch of time. Ding. Challengers who have entered the Rule Strange Tale for the first time can randomly draw talents. Do you want to draw them? If you don't draw again, the system will default to the challenger giving up drawing talents. Smoothing. Ma. Cough, although I'm unlucky, nothing is better than having something. Li Ran couldn't help but curse at the system, but fortunately he managed to hold back. Ding. Talent extraction in progress, challenger please wait. Ding. Congratulations to the challenger for obtaining the SSS level talent. Black and white inversion. Talent effect. Every time a rule is encountered, players can change one of the rules anytime and anywhere, including when breaking a rule. Example of talent effect. Rule. Players should maintain a legitimate relationship with women. After using the talent, the rule becomes. Players do not need to maintain a legitimate relationship with women. Additionally, this talent's effects can be stacked, and if not used continuously, there will be additional rewards. Upon hearing this talent, Li Ran was stunned. It turned out to be an SSS level talent. The chance of talent at this level is 1 in 10 million. This is simply winning the lottery. But on second thought, Li Ran realized that there was already a 1 in a billion chance that he would be drawn by the world of strange talk. There's nothing else, just the thought of this talent effect as an example. Li Ran couldn't help but swallow his saliva. This talent is so good. So what, if he can't resist using it, it should be understandable, right? After pretending to cough a few times, Li Ran spoke with a righteous expression on his face. Cough cough, calm down, a gentleman, how can you think about those obscene things? After calming down, Li Ran began to observe the environment he was in. This is a dormitory with 4 tattered iron beds on top and bottom, all of which are even slightly rusty. There is a balcony behind the dormitory and a mountain outside. At this moment, a cold mechanical voice rang out in Li Ran's mind. Ding! The eerie dungeon, my uniformed female teacher, is loading. After a moment, Li Ran began to organize the information in his mind. He was now a good performing college student, and the school had already started summer vacation. The school director specially arranged an excellent training class for the students with good grades, with the aim of allowing them to take the postgraduate entrance examination to a better school. Li Ran frowned slightly and said, "What kind of thing, even in a strange world, extra classes are needed?" Li Ran complained and looked at the only desk in the dormitory. The desk was next to the dormitory door, and there was a cabinet next to it. At this moment, there was a piece of paper on the desk, and Li Ran walked up to pick it up. It was the rule of this dungeon. Rule 1. 1. Please do not bring female classmates into the boys' apartment. There are no couriers on campus. If someone in the neighboring dormitory is looking for you, you must treat them with fruit. 4. The running master wearing shoes is trustworthy. 5. Please do not refuse the female teacher's request. 6. There are no babies in the dormitory. If you hear a baby crying, please ignore it. 7. The male dormitory keeper can trust it. There is no female dormitory attendant in the dormitory. If you see her, please leave immediately. 9. Please ensure that the floor of your dormitory is free of blood. 10. Please do not stay overnight outdoors. Li Ran looked at Rule 9 and felt a little scared. Fortunately, the Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center reminded him in time, otherwise he wouldn't even know how to die. Although this rule is uncertain and incorrect, where did he gamble his life? But on second thought, it's really a pity that such a precious reminder opportunity was just used up like this. Then Li Ran began to analyze all the information he currently knew. After all, every inch of time is worth a penny, and he also obtained an SSS level talent, which cannot be wasted. As for this SSS level talent, the most important 2 points should be anytime, anywhere, and, including when touching rules. That is to say, if you want to maximize the benefits of this talent, you need to wait until you touch the rules before using it. This not only allows you to change the rules, but also to test them, and even save you from dying once. Li Ran smiled proudly. Although his grades were poor, he still enjoyed playing games at least. Who among those who enjoyed playing games is stupid? Not to mention being a gaming tycoon like myself. However, there is no proper relationship with women in this rule. Thinking of this, Li Ran patted his face and said, "Calm down, put a knife at the end of the color code. After doing it, there will definitely be some harm. You must hold back. Dad, answer the phone quickly. I'm your son. Dad, answer the phone quickly. I'm." And just then, Li Ran's phone rang. It was a strange phone call. Li Ran frowned. Why is it that in the world of strange talk, there are still people calling me? Is it in the real world that my mother called me and asked me to go home for dinner? Hey, who is that? At this moment, a hoarse and weak female voice came from the phone. 7 days. In Chapter 3, it's not necessarily the arms that burst with energy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 7 days. Doodle doodle. Li Ran heard a hoarse female voice on the phone and swallowed her saliva. At this moment, she only felt a chill in her back and a tingling scalp. Because I haven't watched many horror movies in my life, the only ones I've watched were all released by teachers in school classes. And one of the horror movies has this sentence. As for the ending of the movie, because I didn't finish watching it in a short period of time, and I couldn't possibly watch it alone after class. But I know that the protagonist must have died tragically in the end. Li Ran was considering whether or not to search for and watch this movie himself now, in order to understand the plot in advance. However, this idea was immediately rejected by Li Ran because the network of the bizarre world is not interconnected with the real world. Besides, he never watches horror movies. I remember watching a zombie movie at a relative's house when I was a child, which scared him so much that he didn't dare to go to the bathroom for years. If you were to watch this horror movie in a strange world now, you might have been scared to death by the horror movie if you hadn't been killed by it yet. And the eerie world is definitely not as simple as in movies. Don't panic, I'm not alone. There are over 200 countries and 1 billion people in Dragon Country with me. Dad, answer the phone quickly. I'm your son. Dad, answer the phone quickly. I'm you. At this moment, Li Ran looked at his phone with a puzzled expression, wondering if the female ghost from earlier had not finished speaking yet. Hey, who is that? A middle-aged man's gentle voice came from across the phone. Hello, are you Li Ran? I am the school director. Your homeroom teacher for this tutoring class will contact you later. The investigation is strict, so this tutoring class will be arranged in the evening. Please pay attention to your own safety and rest, and don't let down the opportunities created by our university for you. Okay, thank you. Doodle doodle. Li Ran frowned and said, You're in such a hurry to get reincarnated. After complaining, Li Ran looked at the time and found that it was already noon and he hadn't even eaten yet. I don't know if the cafeteria is open. Li Ran stood up and prepared to go out for dinner. Just as Li Ran opened the dormitory door, he found a young woman standing outside. The young woman has a beautiful face, wearing a black suit on her upper body, a black hip-wrap skirt on her lower body, and a pair of slender black silk thighs. Just as Li Ran was stunned, the young woman asked, I was about to knock on the door. Are you Li Ran? I am the homeroom teacher in charge of your makeup class this time. You can call me Teacher Xiaoqing and come and see you today. Has the teacher told you before? Li Ran swallowed his saliva. Damn it, it's just perfect. It's like unifying something. The young woman saw that Li Ran did not respond and smiled. Why, haven't you seen a beautiful teacher? Li Ran suddenly smiled awkwardly and said, Ah. Ahem, the director just called me. Hello, Teacher Xiaoqing. Then Li Ran saw the top-notch female teacher constantly scrutinizing her up and down. Are you keeping me standing at the door all the time? Don't let me sit inside. Li Ran felt a little excited when he heard that the beautiful teacher still wanted to come in and sit down. That's naturally possible, such a beautiful black silk uniformed female teacher, and the rules do not say that female teachers cannot enter male dormitories. Of course, you can come in and rest as long as you want, Teacher Xiaoqing. Chapter 4. The Death of Katulu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Ran quickly stepped aside and let Xiaoqing walk in. Xiaoqing sat on the bed and looked around at the dormitory, seemingly not having seen it before. In no time, Li Ran squatted on the ground with an awkward expression on his face. What's wrong with you? Xiaoqing asked with a smile on his face. Li Ran awkwardly smiled and said, What? I had a bad stomach today, and some of my stomachs are a bit uncomfortable. Really? Then I happen to have studied medicine for a few years. Can I help you take a look? Li Ran quickly waved his hand and said, No need, no need. I'll just slow down for a while. Xiaoqing looked at Li Ran waving his hands repeatedly and whispered, Since you are sick, as your teacher, I naturally take responsibility for your physical health. So as long as you are not feeling well, the teacher will find a way to treat you. Li Ran awkwardly smiled and said, Okay, thank you, Teacher Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing stretched lazily and said to Li Ran, All right, climbing the stairs is too tiring. I need to rest for a while. Do you mind? After hearing this, Li Ran didn't know whether to be happy or sad. He naturally hoped that Xiaoqing would rest here for a while, but this was a strange world, and he was afraid that in case he and without waiting for Li Ran to speak, Xiaoqing fell asleep directly in bed. Li Ran watched this scene, swallowed his saliva, and was engaged in a fierce struggle in his heart. There is no requirement in the rules to maintain a legitimate relationship. And I probably won't be able to live for long either, but with a knife at the beginning of the character, who knows if there are any sequelae. You must hold back. And your family is still watching you in the live broadcast room. If you go on, it will be sexy live. Be careful not to be banned. That would be a big shame. Li Ran, please calm down. Lone men and widows live together in a room. However, the world always has various temptations, and just as Li Ran was gradually losing control, some countries' live streaming rooms were completely chaotic. Not only the Sakura country, challengers from over 100 other countries have lost control of themselves. Because when entering the world of strange talk, challengers from various countries are all emotionally tense, and there are no rules in the rules that require maintaining a legitimate relationship with female teachers. At this moment, they have completely released themselves. At this moment, the state of Utah. Challenger Katulu, under the temptation of Xiaoqing, could no longer control himself and completely released himself. But after a moment, a sudden mutation occurred. Dida. As the sound sounded, Xiaoqing's painful expression slowly became sinister, and her delicate jade hand slowly stopped in front of Katulu's left atrium. A bright light flashed in Xiaoqing's eyes, as if she had seen the most delicious food in the world. I really hate it, you dead ghost, Pushi. Before Katulu could react, Xiaoqing's fair and delicate right hand pierced into Katulu's chest, and then a blood-drenched heart appeared in Xiaoqing's hand. Bang bang. Bang bang. Katulu looked at Xiaoqing's still beating heart in his hand. Is this my heart? Katulu's expression gradually changed from enjoyment to shock, with a hint of confusion in his eyes. 4. Why? After a moment, Katulu died with doubts, not even understanding what rules he had violated before he died. The live broadcast rooms in Taiwan have also gone black. Oh my goodness. Who could have thought of this? Ah. I was tricked. This idiot Katulu. Why don't you hold back? I can't even hold back, useless. Ah. The supernatural is about to descend upon the kingdom of Utah. 1/10 of the country's territory will fall into a strange state. There is not much living space left for Taiwan. Ah. Stupid Katulu. And at this moment, the Sakura Country live broadcast room is even crazier than before. Because at the moment when the blood was about to fall, the time of the eerie world stood still for 10 seconds. And within these 10 seconds, Rikawa Okazuka directly caught the bloodstain in mid-air, while also feeling a wave of fear. However, afraid of returning home, after cleaning up the bloodstains, Rikawa Okazuka looked at Xiaoqing with a lewd smile and said, "Hee hee hee hee. Miss Hua, I didn't expect you to still." At this moment, the Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center also received a message, wanting to urgently notify Li Ran. Even though it was probably too late, just 1 second before they sent the message, Xiaoqing pushed Li Ran away. What's going on? Chapter 5. Fearless Battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Because in the live broadcast footage of Longwa, people can only see a blurry figure of Li Ran from beginning to end, which is also a puzzling place for people. Why can't they see Xiaoqing and Li Ran doing that in the Longwa live broadcast room? Li Ran shouted loudly. Ah. After a moment. There was no strange sound coming from the dormitory, only silence. Xiaoqing frowned slightly. What's going on? What happened? Dragon Country Strange Talk live room. Not good. There's a pit. I just returned from the live broadcast room in Utai. I can't continue. There's a pit. Okay, shut up, we all know. You don't have to worry upstairs, our waste Li Ran is already gone. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing to death. I didn't expect to pass this level like this. I really don't know if I should be grateful or sad for this young man. At such a young age, things have come to an end and nothing has happened. Ha ha ha. This is how I usually don't drink goji berries. Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center. At this moment, the people in the Dragon Kingdom Strange Talk Command Center were also speechless. Chief, do you still need to send a message to remind Li Ran? The middle-aged man pondered for a moment and said, let's talk later. Now we should trust Li Ran. The young man who inquired on the side couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth. What does the leader mean by this? Do you believe in Li Ran or in Li Ran's Yangwei? At this moment, another woman's voice rang out. Chief. The latest data is out. There are only 30.6 surviving challengers now. The middle-aged man frowned and asked, isn't it not long since we entered the world of strange tales? Why are there so few survivors? Except for those who didn't have any relationship with Xiaoqing, most of the others who had any relationship with Xiaoqing have died, including those who happened in bed. The middle-aged man's face turned heavy upon hearing this and asked, why? Because. The young woman speaking had a flickering gaze, as if it was difficult to speak. The middle-aged man turned his head to look at the woman, his eyes serious, and said, speak up. The woman's face turned red in an instant, biting her lips and whispering. Because. During their intense battle, Xiaoqing shouted no, and those challengers were so excited that they basically said no. Then you yelled. You yelled. It's useless to break your throat. And then. You died. Except for some challengers who were not physically capable, most of the others who had sex died. Middle-aged man. I have to say, this way of death. Who could have imagined it? Li Ran looked at Xiaoqing with a disdainful expression on his face, blushing uncontrollably. At this moment, he was so embarrassed that he couldn't help but want to find a bowl, pick up a bowl of water, and directly bury himself in the bowl. I don't have the face to see anyone anymore. At this moment, Li Ran was completely unaware that because he was useless, he had managed to escape a disaster. Get lost. Xiaoqing pushed Li Ran away in front of him, put on his clothes, and walked out of Li Ran's dormitory. However, he didn't forget to look back at Li Ran and said with a displeased expression, I'll pick you up to the classroom tonight. You can rest well on your own. Goodbye, Teacher Xiaoqing. Come again next time. After Xiaoqing finished speaking, he left without looking back, not wanting to hear Li Ran speak. After seeing off Xiaoqing, Li Ran suddenly felt a chill in his back and turned his head to look at the corridor. The light was weak, only the green light from the safety exit reflected on the corridor. Li Ran looked towards the end of the corridor, and suddenly remembered what the girl sitting in front of him had told him during the evening's self-study. When you are in the dormitory at night, be careful at the end of the dimly lit corridor, because usually there is a white-clad ghost with hair watching you. Of course, when you look towards the end of the corridor, be even more careful that she has already come behind you. Mad. Li Ran thought of this and went straight into the dormitory, closing the door. At this moment, he only feels his hair tingling. I don't have much advantage, but my imagination is quite rich, especially for some scenes, because Li Ran usually imagines a lot. Li Ran swallowed his saliva, and now he felt like he was about to pee in fear. Why didn't anyone accompany him through the level? And at that moment, a fragrance entered Li Ran's nose. Li Ran turned to look under the table and found that it was the equipment that Xiaoqing had dropped. Did Xiaoqing forget to wear this equipment when she left? Li Ran squatted down and picked up the mysterious and slightly fragrant black equipment. I carefully examined it. Suddenly, an evil idea arose in Li Ran's mind. Did you reluctantly accept Chapter 6? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Li Ran sat by the bed with what Xiaoqing had lost. With a puzzled expression on his face, should I give it back to Xiaoqing when she comes tonight? But isn't this embarrassing for both of us? After all, after careful consideration, Li Ran made a decision. Okay, in order not to embarrass both of us, I'll reluctantly accept it. Ah, I am really too great. Li Ran shook his head, prepared everything, then slowly closed his eyes and began to unleash his imagination. Dong dong dong. And at that moment, the knocking on the door suddenly sounded. Li Ran frowned and said, "Who's going to ruin my good deed? Don't you know that sudden breaking is not good for your body? Did Xiaoqing discover it? Isn't that the duck that reaches its mouth just flies like this?" Li Ran quickly stuffed the black equipment into his pants. I silently thought to myself, I didn't know anything. After Li Ran packed up, he went to open the door. Li Ran opened the door with a smile on his face, just about to say that he didn't see what you lost. But where is the young and beautiful Xiaoqing standing outside the door? At this moment, outside the door stood an old woman in white mourning clothes with wrinkles on her face. The green light shone on her face, and the old woman's stiff smile asked, "Have you seen my grandson?" The smile on Li Ran's face gradually solidified, and his scalp tingled in waves. "Turn around and close the dormitory door, pressing your body against the door. Mad, it's so scary." At this moment, the old woman's hoarse voice still rang out the door. "Have you seen my grandson? I don't know where he has gone." Li Ran felt a gust of cold wind around his neck, as if an old lady was speaking and blowing air at his neck. "May I ask if you have seen my grandson? Did you hide him? Ah! Open the door for me. Let me go in and find my grandson." The old lady immediately began to angrily smash the door. Li Ran stood behind the door, trembling all over at the moment. Mad, it wasn't long before he met a female dormitory manager who didn't even exist according to the rules. He was so unlucky. Ah! Open the door for me. Give back my grandson. Give back my grandson. Li Ran really wants to curse out loud, "How can I know where your grandson is when I step on a horse?" But he dared not, afraid that talking to this old lady would cause some trouble again. But what I didn't expect was that the strength of this female dormitory manager was even greater than that of Li Ran, repeatedly knocking on the dormitory door and constantly hitting it. Li Ran is gradually feeling exhausted. He hasn't had a meal all day today. Don't mention lunch, he hasn't even had breakfast today. At this moment, the dormitory door had been knocked open by the old lady's repeated impacts, and her withered and yellow hands slowly reached in, touching Li Ran's face. Oh my, why can't every school's dormitory door be knocked open and the school changed to a better lock? Li Ran still desperately pressed against the dormitory door, and in the end, he even sat directly on the ground, his legs against the iron bed, and his back against the dormitory door. But still unable to resist the strength of the female dormitory manager. Just as the female dormitory manager was about to slowly squeeze into the dormitory, a furious shout came from the hallway. Which dormitory classmate was jumping in the dormitory? When Li Ran heard this roar, he clearly felt the withered palm on his face tremble, and then the withered palm suddenly pulled out of the door, which was instantly closed. Li Ran only heard rapid footsteps and screams coming from outside the corridor. After the footsteps and screams faded away, Li Ran slowly regained his senses. The voice just now should have been from the male dormitory keeper, and the rules say that the male dormitory keeper is trustworthy. At present, it seems that he was saved by the male dormitory keeper. And that female dormitory manager is indeed quite dangerous. As for the grandchild mentioned by the female dormitory manager earlier, it should be related to the baby's crying mentioned in the rules. But the rules all mention that there is no female dormitory manager or baby in the apartment. But I have already seen the female dormitory manager who does not exist according to the rules. Will babies that do not exist according to the rules also appear in the dormitory building? Li Ran swallowed his saliva and slowly turned his head to look at the 9 wooden cabinets next to him. These cabinets are common in dormitories of every school and are used to store some personal belongings of students. According to the routine of horror movies, babies are bound to exist, so they must be in unexpected places. Li Ran's small heart was pounding at this moment, slowly moving towards the 9 wooden cabinets. At this moment, he must make sure that the cabinet is safe. He doesn't want to wait until he wakes up and opens it with a confused expression. Suddenly, a ghost or something appears inside. Even if it's not dangerous, he's afraid he'll be scared to death. Li Ran slowly approached the 9 wooden cabinets, his hands trembling uncontrollably at this moment. These 9 cabinets were divided into 3 layers, of which 6 were locked. Li Ran first opened 3 unlocked items for inspection, only some clothes and blankets were in a mess. Li Ran looked at the locked cabinet with the remaining 6 roommates, his heart racing. Regardless of Mada, I won't stay in this world for a lifetime. Li Ran picked up the chair next to him and smashed it. Dong dong dong. But just then, there was another loud knocking on the door. Li Ran suddenly became nervous again. Is it difficult for that old lady to come back? At this moment, an old man's voice rang outside the door. What are you doing? Open the door quickly. Li Ran breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the sound. Fortunately, it was the male dormitory manager. But what did he come to me for? Li Ran went forward and opened the door. The dormitory manager walked directly into the dormitory and looked at the chair in Li Ran's hand. He frowned and said, "What are you smashing? Don't you know that the dormitory needs to be kept quiet?" Li Ran looked at the old man in front of him and could feel that he was feeling very unhappy now. But after all, he just saved himself just now, and the rules mention that the male dormitory keeper is trustworthy. Li Ran didn't want to get too close to him, so he smiled and said, "Which? I lost my key and was about to break the lock and get something." Upon hearing this, the old man quickly walked up to the 9 cabinets and checked them. With a serious expression on his face, he said, "It's better if you're smashing your own lock. If I know you dare to break open your roommate's lock and flip through someone else's belongings while they're not around, be careful. I'll report it directly to the school." Li Ran patted his chest and promised, "Don't worry, Grandpa. How could I possibly do that under your nose?" The old man waved his hand and said, "All right, which cabinet belongs to you? I'll help you pry it open." Li Ran pointed to the cabinet in the middle that he was just smashing. Of course, it wasn't his cabinet, but it was this one he was smashing just now. The old man took out an iron rod from his pants and directly pried open the lock. Li Ran couldn't help but give a thumbs up and said, "You are truly the master. You carry such a hard golden cudgel on your body, high. It's really high." The old man smiled and said, "It's needless to say, your grandfather will still be your grandfather after all. All right, don't make too much noise anymore. There are still people resting in this dormitory, don't disturb others." Later, Li Ran saw off the dormitory manager, but remembered his last words. There are still people resting in this dormitory, don't disturb others. Li Ran's scalp was immediately numb from the thought that flashed through his mind. Chapter 7. I really want to eat my mouth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are still people resting in this dormitory, don't disturb others. This sentence has been lingering in Li Ran's mind. Am I too sensitive? Thinking too much? Does the meaning of the dormitory management mean that there are others living in this building? That's not a big deal. For example, there should be people living in my neighboring dormitory. But could it be saying that there is someone else in my dormitory? Mad, how do you feel that this strange world is not safe anywhere? Stay calm and tidy up your thoughts. First of all, I have a talent for reversing black and white, so it can almost be said that I have a chance to avoid death. So, why didn't the rules give me a prompt to use the talent when the female dormitory manager was about to enter just now? Li Ran frowned slightly. So there are two possibilities. The first one is that the rule about female dormitory managers is wrong. The second possibility is that this rule is not an immediate death rule, it can only be triggered before death. However, currently there are no immediate rules for death, and there is also a chance for oneself to avoid death. Don't panic. The most important thing now is to remain calm. As for the remaining 5 cabinets, don't panic for now. After all, even if there is something inside, it is impossible for it to unlock from inside by itself, right? It's probably unrealistic to let timidly Ran go out to buy food now. It's better to do less than to do more. There are still some fruits in the dormitory, and I don't know where they came from. I ate some to fill my stomach for now, and then I started to fall asleep. After all, I still have classes at night. Dragon Country Strange Talk Live Room. Mad, Li Ran is so scared that he dare not even leave the door. Shibao, I don't even know how to go out and check the situation during the day. Li Ran, if you don't go out to eat enough, you won't have the strength to run in case of any emergency. This guy is a real dog. Yeah, most of the time, playing games is also a meticulous old 6. It's really Go's mother who opened the door for Go, and Go has arrived home. But why is this evening class harmful? You don't know upstairs, now some schools can use any means to make up for classes. Yeah, yes, but taking extra classes in college is a bit outrageous, isn't it? Which university still takes extra classes? Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center. Chief, it's not yet clear what Li Ran's talent is, but it's probably just a bad talent. And now everyone knows that the SSS-level talent of Rikuwa Okazuka in Sakura Kingdom has been temporarily suspended. In addition, there's Mohansen from Grizzly Bear Kingdom, whose talent seems to be immune to fatal damage, so it's unclear for now. The other challengers haven't been outstanding yet. The middle-aged man looked at Li Ran, who was sleeping soundly during the live broadcast, and said with a blank expression, "Forget it, this guy is really cowardly. Let's continue collecting useful intelligence." Dad, answer the phone quickly. I'm your son. Dad, answer the phone quickly. Li Ran, who was sleeping soundly, answered the phone and said in a daze, "Hello, who? Pack up quickly, I'll pick you up later." Li Ran suddenly stood up and looked at the pitch-black dormitory. He quickly turned on his flashlight and got up to turn on the lights. Li Ran looked at the time and frowned, saying, "Huh. Why did you sleep until 11 o'clock at night? It's strange. You have to set an alarm next time." Li Ran was about to go to that so-called tutoring class, and for some reason, he felt a bit flustered. Dong dong dong. Open the door, ready to go. Upon hearing these words, Li Ran's lips twitched. What does it mean to be ready to go? After Li Ran went to open the door, he found that teacher Xiaoqing was still in uniform, wearing black high heels, and still had that explosive figure. "I just don't know, have you worn anything lost at noon?" Xiaoqing frowned slightly and said. "What are you thinking? Let's go, don't be late." Oh. Li Ran regained his senses and walked beside teacher Xiaoqing, still able to occasionally smell the fragrance of Xiaoqing's hair. Li Ran quietly looked at Xiaoqing's side. Although the final project was not carried out at noon, everything else was basically now there shoulder to shoulder, and Li Ranyu's figure in Xiaoqing is also very perfect. It has to be said that although this is a strange world, walking by the side of beautiful women like Xiaoqing is really tempting. And Li Ran also had an inexplicable sense of security. This is something he didn't feel on both the male and female dormitory managers. Most likely because of close contact with Xiaoqing. The two of them walked downstairs, and Li Ran saw that the dormitory manager was already asleep and the apartment door was not locked. The two of them walked directly out of the apartment. The two walked in the campus, with a gentle breeze brushing Xiaoqing's long hair from time to time. Xiaoqing noticed Li Ran's dishonest gaze, blushed slightly, and said with a hint of anger, when else do you want to go? Li Ran quickly averted his gaze and smiled awkwardly, wanting to shift the topic. Ah. I didn't hear you clearly, so what? How old is teacher Xiaoqing this year? After a moment of hesitation, Xiaoqing whispered, why are you asking this? Li Ran was puzzled, what cannot be said about age? Seeing Xiaoqing's shy expression, he immediately regained his composure and said seriously, Xiaoqing, you misunderstood. I don't understand what you're saying. What I'm asking is how old you are this year. Upon hearing this, Xiaoqing bit her red lips shyly and lightly patted Li Ran's shoulder, saying, I know, you have to manage it. 21 Li Ran was surprised to hear this and said, I'm 20 years old this year. I'm in college, and you've become a teacher, Xiaoqing. You're so amazing. Xiaoqing did not pay attention to Li Ran, but walked forward alone. It seems that the answer just now made her very shy. Li Ran can only keep up. The two of them soon arrived outside a classroom, which was very noisy and seemed to have many people. Li Ran didn't know if it was an illusion. When they were separated by a certain distance, he seemed to hear screams of pain. Xiaoqing walked in first, but Li Ran looked at Rule 2 at the classroom door. Li Ran frowned, why are these rules so strange? Chapter 8. I am a mute. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rule 2. 1. Please do not raise or even play with fire in the classroom. 2. Please do not drink anything handed to you by your classmates. 3. Please do not speak in the classroom, let alone shout and gasp for breath. 4. Please maintain a legitimate relationship with teachers and classmates in the classroom and do not fight. 5. Please protect Xiaoling. Please listen attentively in class. Li Ran frowned and looked at Rule 2, saying that if he couldn't speak, he wouldn't be able to catch his breath. And who is this little spirit? Most importantly, those who are still riding horses should listen attentively. I don't even listen attentively in reality, but in a strange world, I still have to listen attentively. Isn't this taking my life? Li Ran took a photo of Rule 2 with his phone and walked into the classroom. I saw all the classmates looking at him with curiosity, scrutiny, and playfulness in their eyes. At this moment, a playful yellow-haired person screamed in a sharp voice, Yo yo yo, this is the new classmate in our class. Hello, pretty guy, what's his name? A wine-red-haired woman with exquisite makeup looked up and down at Li Ran, her eyes lit up and she said, isn't the handsome guy pretty good? How old is he this year? Li Ran glanced at the yellow-haired man, who was particularly thin, wearing tight-fitting clothes and leggings, and still wearing bean shoes. He just didn't know if he had any ghostly fire. Li Ran looked at the spirited young man who had been shaking his legs and occasionally whistling at him, and the more he looked at him, the more annoyed he became. He hung his head in a daze. Mom, that bastard really wants to pound him and give him loose skin. As for the girl with wine-red hair, Li Ran couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth. How old is this year? Mind her damn business. A spirit girl paired with a spirit boy is truly a perfect match. As Li Ran was pondering whether to change the rule of maintaining legitimacy and not fighting with classmates, Teacher Xiaoqing's voice rang in his ear. Alright, I'm just coming to class. Li Ran, could you introduce yourself first? Bang. The classroom door is also closing without warning at this moment. Li Ran was suddenly startled, and at this moment, the eyes of the classmates in the class had become extremely evil. They stared at Li Ran with a smile on their face, as if waiting for him to speak. And Li Ran turned his head to look at Teacher Xiaoqing, only to find that she was also staring at him with a devilish expression on her face. At this moment, Li Ran realized what it meant to be creepy. Grasp the grass. How could a deadly situation come in just half a day? Yeah. I can't speak in the classroom and I have to introduce myself. This time is truly a strange world. It's completely out of line. How can we crack this game? There is definitely a way. Don't worry, let's see how our waste Li Ran got through this level. Last time it was Yang Wei, did it make him mute this time? Li Ran swallowed his saliva, and at this moment, his heart was in turmoil. He didn't expect that as soon as he entered the classroom door, he would be killed. Li Ran let out a sigh in his heart. Alas, there's nothing we can do, we can only use our talents. Just as Li Ran was about to use his talent, he frowned in an instant. Not right. Why is there no prompt? If it's a dead-end situation, the system will definitely notify me. Duh. Don't rush, take a break first, but as time goes by, the classroom becomes eerie and quiet, even the sound of the clock on the wall is incredibly clear. Duh. The smiles on the faces of classmates and Xiaoqing became increasingly eerie. Li Ran closed his eyes directly, but Grandpa stopped looking. Anyway, Grandpa has talent and it's not useful yet. Don't panic, inhale and exhale. Time passes by second by second. 10 seconds later, a baby's cry sounded. Wow! Whimpering. Xiaoqing frowned slightly and then looked at Li Ran, saying, "All right, it's so noisy that I can't hear the introduction of my classmates clearly. Let's go down." Li Ran then opened his eyes and found that the vast majority of his classmates had a disappointed expression on their faces. And Li Ran also looked towards the direction of the crying, which was a beautiful girl in a JK uniform holding a baby in her arms. And the only available seat in the class is behind that JK girl's seat. Li Ranjing felt relieved and wanted to take a slow breath, but he immediately suppressed it. It was so close, so it turned out that this rule was not useless. It seems that I need to be careful. As soon as Li Ran sat down in the empty seat, the baby in JK's arms turned to look at him and smiled at him, very cute. After all, this little guy only saved Li Ran's life, so Li Ran naturally has a good impression of this little guy. Miss JK also turned her head and apologized to Li Ran, "I'm sorry to disturb your self-introduction." Li Ran looked at the fair-skinned and delicate-looking girl and shook his head slightly. After some thought, he picked up a piece of paper and pen and wrote. "It's okay, little sister. You're so beautiful. What's your name? How old is it this year? Can you leave a contact information? Do you have a boyfriend? What do you think of me?" The JK girl looked at the paper handed over by Li Ran, then hesitated for a moment and asked softly, "Are you mute?" Li Ran's lips twitched, unsure whether to nod or shake his head. After some thought, he decided to nod. He couldn't speak anyway, so if he was mute, he would be mute. JK girl looked puzzled and said, "Then why do teachers need you to introduce yourself? Isn't that difficult?" "It's okay, we'll be at the front and back tables in the future. If you have any questions, just ask me. I won't mind you being mute." Li Ran looked at the sincere girl in front of him, deeply moved. If only I had met this girl in the real world, she was beautiful and considerate. "My name is Xiaoling, I'm 18 years old and I'm already an adult. Also, I don't have a boyfriend." Upon hearing this, Li Ran's eyes lit up instantly. "I didn't expect to meet Xiaoling so quickly, and even saved my own life. I originally planned to pay attention to Xiaoling's name when the teacher handed out the homework later. It's a hassle now, and this girl is so beautiful. Hee, I love protecting beautiful girls the most." Xiaoling's sister stickers. Xiaoling looked at the strange back table with a puzzled expression and a silly smile in front of her. This person shouldn't be just mute, but also a fool, right? Slowly, Xiaoling looked at Li Ran with a hint of pity in his eyes. It was really pitiful. He was foolish at a young age and still mute. Ding 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 ding. Alright, class is over, students. Li Ran regained his composure when he heard the voice of teacher Xiaoqing, wiped his saliva from the corner of his mouth, and looked at Xiaoling's charming figure, with the unique fragrance of a young girl lingering on his nose. Ah! So happy. Beauty at the front table, dying under the peony flowers, being a ghost is also charming. Li Ran is also preparing for class, after all, the rules say to listen carefully. Just as Li Ran was about to take out the book from his desk, he suddenly touched a very round and slippery object. Li Ran took it out and saw that it was actually a snake. Grasp the grass mud horse. Li Ran's friendly greeting suddenly rang out in the classroom. At this moment, the whole class, including Xiaoling, turned their heads in unison, looking at Li Ran with a surprised and evil expression on their faces. Li Ran felt a tingling sensation on his scalp. The Dragon Kingdom's eerie live broadcast room went black directly. Ah, it's gone. There's a snake in the desk. Who can't be frightened? Ah. The supernatural is about to descend upon the Dragon Kingdom. Li Ran, you're afraid of even the snakes that step on horses. What a waste. I'm even afraid of a spicy noodle. Yeah, I'll just grill it and eat it. This spicy snack must have been deliberately played on by that spirited guy. At this moment, the Dragon Kingdom is howling one after another, and strangeness is about to descend upon it again. The living space of the Dragon Kingdom is also decreasing. Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center. The middle-aged leader sighed and said, "Alas, enter the first level of combat readiness." After this strange arrival, I don't know how much land in the Dragon Kingdom will be shrouded in the strange. At this moment, Long Lao slowly said, "Wait, don't worry. Maybe there's still a turning point." Chapter 9. Little Black Boy. Diankun Kid. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. You have violated the rule. Do you need to use the talent? Black and white reversal. Li Ran listened to the cold mechanical sound that came to mind and sighed slightly. He didn't expect to use his talent just a few minutes into the classroom. Alas, use your talents. Ding. Congratulations, Rule 2 has been changed. Rule 2. 1. Please do not play with fire in the classroom. 2. Please do not drink anything handed to you by your classmates. 3. You can speak in the classroom, shout loudly, and breathe heavily. 4. Please maintain a legitimate relationship with teachers and classmates in the classroom and do not fight. 5. Please protect Xiaoling. Please listen attentively in class. After successfully using the talent, I saw the classmates and teachers who had just shown a surprised and eerie smile still looking at the snake in Li Ran's hand, but now there is only surprise and shock. Li Ran looked at the snake in his hand with a gloomy expression on his face. He didn't even need to think about it. It was mostly that Huang Mao deliberately played with him, and it was mostly to smile at Bo Mei. This kind of hanging hair was already common in their class before. And at this moment, the one in the class who laughed the most was the yellow-haired one. Ha ha ha. Look at his cowardly behavior. I'm laughing to death, even a small snake is afraid. You cowardly. Li Ran looked at the snake in his hand and almost killed me. He went to Nima. Li Ran suddenly had a flash of inspiration, he thought of it. Li Ran screamed directly, "Oh, where are the snakes from? They are so scared." Then he directly threw the snake away, and the direction of its flight was also in the direction of Huang Mao. Grab the grass. What do you mean? The spiritual young man watched the snake fly towards him, and from the initial burst of laughter, it turned into extreme fear. He jumped up from his seat with just one jump. And the snake was also precisely landing on the crotch of the spiritual young man, and this snake was also powerful, coming straight to eat chicken with a fierce snake. He bit a chicken in one bite. Sleeping in the trough. It hurts. The spiritual young man felt the pain coming from his crotch and desperately pulled the snake on it, but to his surprise, the pain grew stronger and stronger, and in the end, tears of pain welled up in his eyes. Ha ha ha. There was a burst of laughter in the classroom, and Li Ran ran over to the mentally challenged boy with an apologetic expression, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, brother Huang Mao. I didn't mean to." "Ah, this snake must be hungry. Look, even the chicken raised by brother Huang Mao won't let go. But I'm curious, isn't this chicken also yellow-haired? Li Ran looked at the crying spirit young man seriously and continued, don't be afraid, brother Huang Mao. This snake dares to eat brother Huang Mao's chicken, it's so terrifying. It's so arrogant. It's unforgivable. Brother Huang Mao, don't be afraid. Let's watch my little brother practice Mars strike Kun fist for 2.5 years. Then Li Ran raised his right fist and slowly exhaled in front of it. His right fist immediately began to rotate in circles, with a serious roar on his face, saying, "Aya. Look at me, the universe is invincible. Fire star big force hit Kun fist, ha. Don't." After Li Ran let out a furious shout, Mars vigorously punched Kun and, in the frightened gaze of the spiritual young man, rushed straight to the snake head on his pants at a super-fast speed of 1 Kun light-year per second. Yao Yang. Bang. Click. Ah. A violent scream echoed throughout the classroom, and other boys couldn't help but hold their pants with both hands. I feel a severe egg pain every few meters. Dragon Country Strange Talk Live Room. The sleeping trough. It's too cruel. I'm afraid it's just broken and there's only residue left. I feel pain even across the screen. I was so scared that I quickly covered my eggs. This Li Ran is actually a little black boy. What are you talking nonsense upstairs? Others are obviously Diankun kids. But then again, how could Li Ran break the rules and be fine? Yeah, some of the other challengers, some didn't calm down when introducing themselves, and some were scared and screamed by the snake. Most of them died. Does Li Ran also have a talent for immune strangeness? I don't think so. Li Ran has said so much, it should be a better talent. This kid suddenly feels like he's not particularly useless. Dragon Country Strange Talk Command Center. Chief, after passing the 2 levels just now, there are only 15 challengers left. What can be confirmed at the moment is that blood stains falling from the dormitory and speaking in the classroom are both mandatory rules. As for Li Ran's talent, it is still unclear. The middle-aged man said slowly, it's only been half a day now, and there are only 15 challengers left, especially when introducing himself. There should be some issues with the time flow in the classroom, otherwise there won't be so many challengers who can't hold their breath. Then comes the inevitable disaster, and people will habitually breathe a sigh of relief. Then comes the direct appearance of the little spirit, which calms the challenger's body and mind once again. At the most relaxed moment, a live snake is pulled out of the desk. These interlocking 3 levels can indeed take away many challengers' lives. Alas, we can only trust Li Ran now. It seems that this kid is not too bad either. At that moment, Long Lao spoke. Xiaoqing and the dormitory manager should have some issues. Next time you use the prompt message, remember to tell Li Ran to keep an eye on it. The middle-aged man nodded after hearing this, his face heavy. The eerie scene this time seemed a bit different from before, especially when Xiaoqing was accompanying Li Ran to the classroom. It was so much like a little girl, yes, so much like a pure little girl. There was a big difference between Xiaoqing, who came to the dormitory during the day to burn goods. At this moment, Huang Mao's eyes were wide open, his body was crawling, his whole body trembling, and he felt like his eggs were all shattered. If the snake biting the chicken brings a sense of tearing, then this Kun fist brings a feeling of egg shattering. Li Ran picked up the snake that had fallen on the ground and presented it to Huang Mao with both hands. Huang Mao, I have already knocked out this ungrateful eating Kun snake for you. Please verify it, Huang Mao. Where is Huang Mao still in the mood to talk to Li Ran at this moment? The pain has twisted his face. Xiaoqing looked at the time and said, all right, everyone's back to their positions and ready for class. Everyone returned to their seats, and Li Ranyu glanced at Huang Mao. Hee, trash, fight with me, see if I don't play with you, see how you will continue to harm the girl in the future. Next is the dull and boring class time. Fortunately, Li Ran slept all day, otherwise he had to fall asleep. However, Li Ran's stomach was also growling incessantly, and it was so hungry and painful that he couldn't sleep. Even if the teachers on the podium are very pleasing to the eye. But it's not enough to resist my stomach. People are like iron, rice is like steel, and not eating a meal can make me feel hungry. Li Ran had some fruit for lunch. Fortunately, time seems to be a bit fast, and class will be over in an hour. It's now 1:30 in the morning. Xiao Ling turned her head and asked, "Are we going to the cafeteria to eat together?" Chapter 10. Kind Little Blackie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Ran asked curiously, "Is there anything else to eat so late?" Xiao Ling nodded and said, "Yes, the cafeteria is open. Are we going together?" Upon hearing this, Li Ran suddenly became happy. He didn't expect the cafeteria to be open so late at this school. "Let's go, my stomach is so hungry that it's drumming," he said. Xiao Ling mischievously smiled and said, "I heard you in class a long time ago." Xiao Ling stood up and grabbed Li Ran's hand, bouncing towards the cafeteria. Li Ran was also a bit embarrassed by Xiao Ling's sudden grip. Xiao Ling's black and straight long hair occasionally floated on Li Ran's face. "It looks really nice, but I don't know where the baby went at that time." However, it is obvious that the baby is definitely not Xiaoling's child. After all, Xiaoling has such a good figure and emits a unique fragrance of a young girl. Charming, so charming. The rule is to maintain a legitimate relationship inside the classroom, but outside the classroom. Li Ran looked at the innocent and lovely little sister Ling in front of him and protected her. For the safety of Xiaoling's sister, naturally we need to protect ourselves closely, right? Thinking of this, Li Ran suddenly felt a little, Dragon Country Strange Talk live room. Mud Horse, who the hell is weird? Yeah, Li Ran's gaze at Xiao Ling was even more eerie than strange. Damn it. I won't let go of such a pure younger sister. Say embryo Li Ran. Oh my god. Ha ha ha, don't worry, everyone. Even if we really give him a chance, he can't do anything about it. Indeed, waste Li Ran. Yeah, even trash still needs to be treated as color embryos. Upstairs, it's the opposite of what I said. It's probably because I became a color embryo that I got rid of it. Xiao Ling pulled Li Ran to the east cafeteria of the school. Li Ran, this building has 4 floors in total. The first floor is a snack bar, and the 3 floors above are all cafeterias, but only the cafeteria on the 4th floor is lit at this point. Xiao Ling pulled Li Ran up the 4th floor, panting heavily. Oh, I'm so tired. Climbing the 4th floor all at once makes me almost breathless. Li Ran looked at the panting little spirit and comforted, all right, you can eat and replenish your energy soon. The two of them walked into the cafeteria together. Just as I was about to follow in, I saw an A4 paper pasted at the entrance of the cafeteria, with new rules on it. Rule 3. 1. Please do not cook at the white clothes window. 2. Please eat all the food on the plate. 3. There is no mutton in the canteen, let alone roasted whole lamb. 4. Please do not take meat out of the cafeteria. Li Ran took out his phone to capture the rules and walked into the cafeteria, but as soon as he entered, he was shocked by the scene before him. The cafeteria looks very quiet from outside, and the lighting is also very normal. But when he entered the cafeteria, Li Ran found that the lights inside were very dim and slightly red. Xiao Ling ran over and grabbed Li Ran's hand, heading towards a window dressed in white. The dim red light reflected on the faces of the workers in white work clothes, but turned dark green. After seeing Li Ran appear, the staff slowly grinned and showed a big yellow tooth, and asked in a hoarse voice, "What do you want to eat, this classmate? Do you want to eat lamb?" Li Ran swallowed his saliva and didn't dare to speak. He looked at the little spirit beside him, and at this moment, the little spirit's face showed a frightened look. Looking at Li Ran, it seemed that he was very afraid of Li Ran ordering lamb. Li Ran shook his head stiffly, then left the window and walked towards a window dressed in red work clothes. He bought a bowl of beef noodles, but only realized when it was time to pay that WeChat couldn't make the payment. Li Ran called Xiaoling, who smiled playfully, who needs a girl to pay for their first meal. Li Ran awkwardly scratched his head and said, I don't have any money on me. I can say I'm penniless now, but I'm also sorry to keep asking little Ling's sister to pay. It seems that I can only go out to beg for food to repay little Ling's sister's money. Xiaoling chuckled and said, Hee, do you remember to order more food? After speaking, Xiaoling stuffed the money into Li Ran's hand and ran away. After regaining his senses, Li Ran lowered his head and looked at the money in his hand. Grab the grass. Li Ran realized that what he was holding was actually a ghost coin. Grab the grass. Why does Xiaoling carry ghost coins on her body? At this moment, Li Ran only felt a tingling sensation in his scalp. Calm down, it shouldn't be strange to use cryptocurrency in a strange world, otherwise would it be in RMB? Calm down. Hey. Are you giving it to me or not? The staff in the red work uniform impatiently shouted Li Ran. Oh. Here you are. After Li Ran regained his senses, he brought a bowl of noodles and sat down to eat in front of Xiaoling. Xiaoling also ordered a bowl of noodles, but it was light and without any meat. At the moment, Li Ran is not in the mood to ask Xiaoling why she ate noodles in clear soup. Most of it is because she lost weight. After all, Xiaoling is so thin. Xiaoling was eating and couldn't resist, so she bit her chopsticks and whispered to Li Ran. Let me tell you, that yellow-haired guy named Zhang Tao is a well-known thug in our class. He's very stingy, so be careful of him getting revenge on you. But he's not a bad person either. On the contrary, he used to. After Xiaoling finished speaking, she was momentarily taken aback and immediately stopped to shift the topic. She continued, the other girl with wine-red hair is called Zhang Yan, and she is Zhang Tao's sister. She's also quite promiscuous, and I heard she's also very open-minded. Xiaoling then looked left and right, then approached Li Ran a bit closer and whispered, I heard they're both, so what? Still that, just that. You understand. Li Ran's mouth twitched, what the hell is that? Li Ran's eyes lit up and he whispered, are you saying that the two of them? Sure, I haven't talked about it before. Li Ran was a bit surprised and said, TSK, I didn't expect it, this yellow hair. Alright, hurry up and eat. We'll have class later. Li Ran nodded, but suddenly thought of something and looked at Xiaoling, asking, what is the situation with that baby? Xiaoling heard Li Ran's question and her hands trembled, her eyes flustered. So what? I'm full, I'll leave first. Xiaoling stood up directly and left the cafeteria. Li Ran frowned slightly, what's the situation?